so excited that there are so many of you out there. We're very thrilled to be partnering with the Sacramento Poetry Center to bring a pretty incredible and amazing event to Sacramento. And as people were coming in and I was sending them to will call or to their seats, I kept thinking, who knew there are so many poetry lovers in Sacramento? Wow. So it's my pleasure to introduce probably one of the nicest men in Sacramento, if not California, if not, you know, the 42nd parallel, whatever we are. And that's Bob Stanley, Poet Laureate of Sacramento.
If you've been to the Poetry Center, know all the stuff we do, but to bring someone of the caliber of Stephen Dunn, somebody who is really at the top of the poetry world, is something that has eluded us for a long, long time. And so it took a lot of help, and it was really when Kathleen Lynch called me maybe 6 months ago and said, she knows Stephen, and maybe he could come, we might be able to do this, and so we started getting people to work together. In his book, Local Visitations, there are a number of poems, a whole section of poems that take a famous historical author, writer, poet, and puts them in a place where they might not normally be. One example is Tolstoy in South Jersey. And another one is Twain in Atlantic City. I think Jane Austen is in there as well. So these are kind of improbable pairings. And so, I didn't write the poem, but I had the idea, and so I'm very happy to be able to say these 4 words. We kind of fit into that category. Stephen Dunn in Sacramento. Please welcome Stephen Dunn.
I'm going to start with a couple of poems, very short poems from this little chapbook that I did last year. I found myself with a number of short poems that wanted to hang around together, I thought. This is Giving Birth. At my favorite professor's dinner party years ago, I gave birth to what I thought was a new idea. And the room got quiet with tolerance. I still hear that tolerance. Let me tell you how long it's taken me to understand the right solution, and still I forget, isn't the only one. And that the need to be right is perceived by the other as a failure of love. And that rightness itself is merely a state between what I've passionately come to and what I don't yet know. Oh, but when you're wrong, dear, you're wrong. Let me tell you exactly what I mean. What is the most commonly misused word of this generation? Awesome, yes, very good, first try. Yeah, I mean, people go around saying that there was an awesome ice cream cone and things like that. Very few of us have ever experienced anything like awe, I suspect. And I think those of us who have, it makes us quiet. So I have a poem that attempts to redeem that word a little bit and other words. Love. Found dead in an alley of words, awesome, no hope for it. And share, trying to get by on its own. And near the trash cans, almost totally exhausted, the barely breathing, cool. But there's love among the disposables, waiting as ever to be lifted into consequence. And here comes a forager looking for anything that might get him through another night. Love's right in front of him, his if he wants it. In the air, the ashy smell of cliches, the stink of obsolescence. He's leaning love's way, All the words are watching, even the dead ones. It's as if what he does next could be the equivalent of restoring awe to awesome, that love, if chosen, might be given back to love, made new again. But the man is just a man out for easy pickings, or has he just remembered how early on love always feels original? Let us forgive him if he keeps on foraging. The clown. If a clown came out of the woods, a standard-looking clown with oversized polka dot clothes, floppy shoes, a red bulbous nose, and you saw him on the edge of your property, there'd be nothing funny about that, would there? A bear might be preferable, especially if black and berry-driven. And as this clown began waving his hands with those big white gloves that clowns wear, and you realized he wanted your attention, had something apparently urgent to tell you, would you pivot and run from him, or stay put, as my friend did, who seemed to understand here was a clown who didn't know where he was, a clown without a context. What could be sadder, my friend thought, than a clown without context? If then the clown said to you that he was on his way to a kid's birthday party, his car had broken down, and he needed a ride, would you give him one? Or would the connection between the comic and the appalling as it pertained to clowns be suddenly so clear that you'd be paralyzed by it? And if you were the clown, my friend hesitated as he did, would you make a sad face and with an enormous finger wipe away an imaginary tear? How far would you trust your art? I can tell you it worked. Most of the guests had gone when my friend drove up with the clown, and the family was angry, but the clown twisted the balloon into the shape of a bird and gave it to the kid, who smiled, letting it rise to the ceiling. If you were the kid, the birthday boy, what from then on would be your relationship with disappointment, with joy? Whom would you blame or extol? Just so it's clear, no whining on the journey. If you whine, you'll get stuck somewhere with people like yourself. It's an unwritten law. Wear hiking boots, pack food, and a change of clothes. We go slowly. Endurance won't be enough, though without it, you can't get to the place where more of you is asked. Expect there'll be times when you'll be afraid. Hold hands and tremble together if you must, but remember each of you is alone. Where are we going? It's not an issue of here or there. And if you ever feel you can't take another step, imagine how you might feel to arrive, if not wiser, a little more aware how to inhabit the middle ground between misery and joy. Trudge on. In the higher regions where the footing is unsure, to trudge is to survive. Happiness is another journey, almost over before it starts, guaranteed to disappoint. If you've come for it, say so, you'll get your money back. I hope all of you realize that any time is a fine time to laugh. Fake it, however, and false laughter will accompany you like a cowbell for the rest of your days. You'll forever lack the seriousness of a clown. At some point, the rocks will be jagged, the precipice clear, sheer. That won't be the abyss you'll see looking down. The abyss you'll discover, if you made it this far, is usually nearer than that, at the bottom of something you've yet to resolve, or posing as your confidant. Follow me, don't follow me. I will say such things and mean both. Don't do that. It was bring your own if you wanted anything hard, so I brought Johnny Walker Red along with some resentment I'd held in for a few weeks. Which was not helped by the sight of little nameless things pierced with toothpicks on the tables, and by talk that promised to be nothing, if not small. But I consented to come, and I knew in what part of the house their animals would be sequestered, whose company I loved. What else can I say except that old retainer of slights and wrongs? That bad boy I hadn't quite outgrown. I brought him along, too. I was out to cultivate a mood. My host greeted me, but did not ask about my soul, which which was when I was invited by Johnny Walker Red to find the right kind of glass and pour. I toasted the air and I said hello to the wall, then walked past a group of women dressed to be seen, undressing them one by one, and went up the stairs to where the Rottweilers were, Rosie and Tom. I got down with them on all fours. They licked the face I offered them. I proceeded to slick back my hair with their saliva. And before long, I felt like a wild thing, ready to mess up the party, scarf their hors d'oeuvres. But the dog said, no, don't do that. Calm down. After a while, they open the door and let you out. They pet your head, and everything you might have held against them is gone. And you're good friends again. Stay, they said. Sweetness. Just when it seemed I couldn't bear one more friend waking with a tumor, one more maniac with a perfect reason. Often a sweetness has come and changed nothing in the world except the way I stumbled through it. For a while lost in the ignorance of loving someone or something, the world shrunk to mouth size, hand size, and never seeming small. I acknowledge there is no sweetness that doesn't leave a stain, no sweetness that's ever sufficiently sweet. Tonight a friend called to say his lover was killed in the car he was driving. His voice was low and guttural. He repeated what he needed to repeat, and I repeated the one or two words we have for such grief, until we were speaking only in tones. Often a sweetness comes as if unknown, stays just long enough to make sense of what it means to be alive, then returns to its dark source. As for me, I don't care where it's been, or what bitter road it's traveled to come so far, to taste so good.
Ms. Hurd's essays have been included in Best American Essays, and she has won many national awards for her books, including Library Journal's Best Natural History Book of the Year for Entering the Stone. Today she reads from her newest book, Stepping into the Same River Twice, created with artist Patricia Hillman. All proceeds from this collection benefit Savage River Watershed Association. Please welcome special guest, Barbara Hurd.
This is how rivers begin and how bedrock, soft dolomite, hard granite, gets carved. So also our lives, we like to believe, might be shaped by what we resist. Start with an incline, which has no intent. Add rain, whose only option is to fall, and time, which can do nothing but pass. This is how rivers begin and how bedrock, soft dolomite, hard granite, gets carved. So also our lives, we like to believe, might be shaped by what we resist. If we're tempted to think the world is stable, all we have to do is look at its reflection in the river. That birch on the bank, leafless and still, is in the river a jittery finger that points to something we can't expect to figure out. Night river, moving through rocks, dislodges a mud-skinned cobble, washes over the newly exposed face. Decades hence, someone downstream might look upstream and see in this burnished rock a reflection of moon, a stone that looks lit from within, a glow in mid-river. Those who see it will be moved by mystery to tell stories, the best of which will feel true. In the meantime, What rough face redirected the current? The river works without considerations or tenderness, is more akin to bones than skin. In the dark, it rearranges the stones and redarkens any arrangement